There is a power in silence that many do not understand. In a world that glorifies noise, where everyone feels the need to speak, to prove, to explain, silence becomes a rare and powerful gift. When you learn to be silent, you open the door for God to move in your life in ways you never imagined. See, silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is strength. It is the secret language of faith. Because when you stop trying to control everything, when you stop defending yourself, when you stop running after people who do not see your worth, God steps in. And when God moves, nothing and no one can stand in his way. You don't have to announce your pain to the world. You don't have to beg for what is already yours. You don't have to explain yourself to people who will never understand. Just be silent. Watch. Let your actions speak. Let your peace be your answer, and let God handle the rest. Silence invites clarity. It allows you to hear the whispers of God, guiding you, protecting you, preparing you. It is in silence that prayers are answered, that doors are opened, that miracles happen, because God does not need noise to work. He needs faith. Be still, be patient, be silent, and watch as everything you have prayed for begins to unfold. Not by force, not by noise, but by divine favor. Because what is meant for you will never miss you, and when God gives, he gives beyond measure. Stay silent, stay faithful, and get ready, because God is above. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is the presence of power. It is the space where faith speaks louder than any argument, where peace replaces the need to prove, and where God moves without your interference. Many people think they need to fight, to explain, to be heard in order to win in life. But the truth is, the greatest victories often come from silence. Because when you stay silent, God speaks for you. When you stop chasing, he brings what is meant for you. And when you trust in him, he gives you everything on his time, in his way, beyond your imagination. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to explain your worth. You don't have to argue with those who misunderstand you. Just be still, be patient, be silent, and watch how God rearranges everything in your favor. Let your silence be your strength. Let your faith do the talking, and let God handle the rest. Because when he gives beyond measure. Stay silent, stay faithful, and prepare yourself, because what's coming is greater than anything you have ever prayed for. Does this match your vision, or would you like any refinements? Faith is not just about what you say, it's about what you believe in your heart, even when you say nothing at all. Silence is not emptiness, it is not weakness, it is not surrender. Silence is power. It is a declaration that you trust God more than you trust your own words. When you choose silence, you are choosing to let God fight for you. You are choosing to step back and allow him to move in ways you cannot yet see. Too often, people believe they must speak up to prove their worth, argue to be understood, or fight back to defend themselves. But true faith does not require noise. True faith understands that God sees everything, hears everything, and knows everything. And when you trust in him fully, you realize that you do not have to respond to everything that challenges you. Silence is a form of surrender, not to people, but to God. It is saying, Lord, I trust you. I trust that you will handle what I cannot. I trust that you will bring justice in your time. I trust that you will open the right doors and close the wrong ones. I trust that you are working even when I don't see it. Think about the strongest people you know. They are not the ones who argue the loudest. They are not the ones who explain themselves to those who will never understand. They are the ones who move in silence, who trust in divine timing, who know that their actions and faith will speak louder than any words ever could. When you practice silence, you give space for clarity. You give yourself time to reflect, to hear the whispers of God, to gain wisdom. Silence allows you to step back and see things from a higher perspective instead of reacting emotionally. It keeps you from making impulsive decisions, from saying things you might regret, from engaging in battles that are not meant for you to fight. Silence is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right thing at the right time. It is about knowing that faith is not always loud. Sometimes the strongest faith is the quietest, the kind that waits, the kind that listens, the kind that trusts in God without question. When the world pressures you to react, be silent. When people misunderstand you, be silent. When you are tempted to prove yourself, be silent, because your silence is not empty. It is filled with faith, filled with strength, filled with the unshakable belief that God is working, that he is in control, and that he will give you everything you need in his perfect time. Life has a way of making us feel like we must always be in control, like we have to defend ourselves, prove our worth, and fight our own battles. But the truth is, the most powerful victories don't come from struggle. They come from surrender. They come when you step back, stay still, and let God do what only He can do. When you try to fight every battle on your own, you wear yourself out. You drain your energy trying to convince people who will never see your worth. You waste time arguing with those who have already made up their minds about you. You exhaust yourself chasing after things that are not meant for you. But when you choose to be still, when you choose to trust instead of force, when you decide to let go and let God, you open the door for miracles to happen. Staying still does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you are giving up. It means you understand that some battles belong to God alone. It means you recognize that your strength comes from Him, not from your ability to control every situation. The Bible says in Exodus 14:14, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That means you don't have to chase after justice. You don't have to force things to happen. You don't have to engage in every fight that comes your way. Your job is to trust, and God's job is to win the battle. Think about the biggest struggles in your life right now. The things that have been keeping you up at night, the pain you've been carrying, the disappointments that have made you question everything. What if I told you that you don't have to fight alone? What if I told you that the moment you stop striving, stop stressing, and stop trying to control everything, that is the moment God steps in? Because God does not need your help to bring justice. He does not need your voice to prove your worth. He does not need your force to open the right doors. He simply needs your faith. Sometimes we think we have to defend ourselves because we're afraid of being misunderstood. We think we have to prove something because we're afraid of being overlooked. But God sees everything, every wrong, every betrayal, every unfair situation, and He is not ignoring it. He is preparing to step in, but He needs you to step back. The enemy wants you to react. He wants you to waste your energy on battles that don't belong to you. He wants you to become bitter, to lose your peace, to doubt yourself. But when you remain still, when you refuse to be shaken, when you trust in God's perfect timing, you frustrate the enemy. Because the enemy cannot win against someone who refuses to be moved by fear, by anger, by doubt. I challenge you today, be still. Trust that God is handling it. Trust that He is defending you in ways you cannot see. Trust that what is meant for you will come and what is not will leave. Let your silence be your response, your peace be your strength, and your faith be your shield. Because when God fights for you, He does not lose. And when He moves, nothing and no one can stand in His way. Stay still, stay faithful, and get ready, because victory is coming. In life, you will face situations that test your patience, challenge your character, and try to pull you into unnecessary battles. People will misunderstand you, provoke you, and even disrespect you. But wisdom is knowing that not every situation deserves your energy, and not every comment needs a response. There is power in silence. There is strength in walking away. Not everything requires you to defend yourself. Not everything deserves your explanation. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let it go and let God handle it. When you react to everything, you give away your peace. You allow external forces to control your emotions. Every time you respond to negativity, to gossip, to small-minded people, you drain yourself. And for what? To prove a point to someone who isn't even willing to understand? To fight a battle that won't even matter in a few months? You must learn to choose your battles wisely. Some things are simply distractions sent to steal your joy, test your patience, and shift your focus from what truly matters. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is it worth disturbing my peace? Will reacting actually change anything? If the answer is no, then let silence be your response. Your reaction gives power to others. The moment you respond to negativity, you give the other person control over your emotions. They know they can trigger you. They know they can disturb your peace. But when you choose not to engage, you take back your power. You show them that their words, their actions, their attempts to hurt you, none of it affects you, because you have something far greater: inner peace, self-control, and trust in God. Maturity is learning to respond, not react. Reaction is instant, it's emotional, it's driven by impulse. But response is different. Response is thoughtful, intentional, and often silence is the best response of all. Think about the people who have wronged you. The ones who tried to bring you down, the ones who doubted you, disrespected you, or left you when you needed them the most. Did reacting to them change anything? Did arguing with them bring you peace? Did proving yourself to them make them treat you better? No, because real power is not in proving yourself. It's in knowing you don't have to. Let people think what they want. Let them say what they will. Your actions, your growth, and your success will speak louder than any words ever could. The next time someone tries to test you, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself that you are not obligated to react. Your peace is too valuable, your energy is too precious, and your destiny is too important to be distracted by small things. Remember this. Not everything needs your reaction, but everything needs your wisdom. And sometimes the wisest thing you can do is stay silent, stay focused, and let God handle the rest. We live in a world that teaches us to chase success, chase love, chase money, chase approval. But what if I told you that true blessings don't come from chasing? They come when you stop running after things that are not meant for you. They come when you surrender, when you trust, and when you allow God to bring into your life what is truly meant for you. Too often, we exhaust ourselves trying to force things to happen. We run after relationships that are not right for us. We work tirelessly to prove ourselves to people who will never see our worth. We chase opportunities that drain us, thinking they will fulfill us. But the truth is, anything that requires you to beg, force, or constantly struggle is not a blessing. It's a burden. Blessings flow. They do not have to be chased. When something is truly meant for you, it comes in alignment with peace. This doesn't mean that you won't have to put in effort. Faith without action is dead. But there is a difference between working with purpose and chasing in desperation. Think about water in a river. It moves with ease, flowing naturally in the direction it is meant to go. It does not struggle to push against the current. It does not force its way into places it does not belong. This is how blessings work. They flow toward you when you are aligned with God's plan. When you stop chasing things that are not meant for you, you make room for what is. Some of the greatest disappointments in life happen because we refuse to let go of things that are not meant for us. We chase after love that doesn't love us back. We chase after jobs that don't fulfill us. We chase after people who don't appreciate us. And in the process, we miss out on the beautiful things that are trying to find us. When you stop chasing, you start receiving. You start attracting the right relationships, the right opportunities, and the right blessings. Why? Because you are no longer coming from a place of fear and lack. You are coming from a place of faith and trust. God is not asking you to chase. He is asking you to believe. He is asking you to trust that what is truly meant for you will find you, that you do not have to beg for love, that you do not have to force success, that you do not have to exhaust yourself trying to make things work that were never meant to be. I challenge you today, let go of the chase. If something is running away from you, let it go. If something is taking more from you than it is giving, release it. If something is causing more stress than joy, walk away, because the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop trying to control everything, that is when the blessings will come. That is when you will experience peace. That is when God will give you more than you ever imagined. You don't have to chase what is already written for you. Stop running, start trusting, and watch how everything you need comes directly to you. Life is loud. It's filled with distractions, noise, and constant movement. Every day we are surrounded by voices. Voices of society telling us who we should be. Voices of fear whispering our doubts. Voices of others trying to influence our choices. And in all this noise, we often struggle to hear the most important voice of all, God's voice. But here's the truth. God speaks in silence. He does not shout over the world's noise. He does not compete for your attention. He waits. He waits for you to be still. He waits for you to quiet your heart, to silence your mind, and to make space for him. Have you ever noticed how much clarity comes in moments of silence? When you step away from distractions. When you stop talking, when you sit in stillness, that's when you start hearing God. That's when the answers become clear, when the guidance you've been praying for finally comes, when the peace you've been searching for fills your soul. God is always speaking, but the question is, are you listening? Many times we say, I don't hear God. I don't know what he wants me to do. But the problem is not that God isn't speaking. The problem is that we are too busy listening to everything else. We are too distracted by our own worries, our own plans, our own need to control everything. We expect to hear him in the middle of chaos, but God calls us to step away, to quiet our hearts and to be still. The Bible says in Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. That means your answers will not come through overthinking. They will not come through worrying. They will not come through running to people for validation. Your answers will come in stillness, in quiet moments, in deep trust. Think about how Jesus lived. He constantly withdrew from the noise. He stepped away from the crowds. He went up to the mountains alone. He spent time in silence, in prayer, and stillness, because he understood that in the quiet, he could hear the Father's voice. If Jesus needed silence to connect with God, how much more do we? We live in a world that glorifies busyness. We are constantly told to move faster, to do more, to fill every second with activity, but true wisdom, true strength, true direction, they come when you pause. When was the last time you sat in silence and just listened? Not prayed out of desperation, not asked for things, not filled the air with words, but simply sat in God's presence and listened. Silence is not empty, it is full of answers. Maybe the reason you haven't found peace yet is because you haven't allowed yourself to be still. Maybe the reason you feel lost is because you are too distracted to hear the guidance that has been there all along. Maybe the breakthrough you've been praying for is waiting for you to stop running, stop worrying, stop overthinking, and just be silent. God does not compete for your attention, but when you make room for him, he will speak. Today I challenge you, find silence. Step away from the noise. Put down your phone. Pause your conversations. Stop running to people for answers that only God can give you. Sit in stillness. Open your heart and listen, because in silence you will hear his voice, and when you hear him, you will never be the same again. Trust is not always easy. It requires faith in what you cannot see, belief in what has not yet happened, and patience to wait for God's timing. But when you truly place your trust in him, without doubt, without fear, without constantly questioning, he rewards you in ways greater than you ever imagined. Many people struggle with trust because they want control. They want to know exactly how things will unfold. They want immediate answers, instant solutions, and clear signs before they take a step. But trust does not work that way. Trust means letting go. It means surrendering your plans, your worries, your fears, and believing that God has already made a way, even if you cannot see it yet. The Bible is filled with examples of those who trusted God and were rewarded beyond their expectations. Abraham trusted when God told him to leave everything behind and walk toward the unknown. Moses trusted when he stood before the Red Sea with an entire nation depending on him. Joseph trusted through betrayal, imprisonment, and years of waiting. Job trusted when everything was taken from him. And in the end, they were all rewarded, not because they had all the answers, but because they chose faith over fear. God does not fail those who trust him. He sees every tear, every sacrifice, every moment when you could have given up but chose to hold on. He knows the struggles you face, the prayers you whisper in the dark, the moments when doubt tries to creep in. And in his perfect timing, he rewards your faith. But trust is not just about waiting, it's about how you wait. Do you wait with frustration, or do you wait with faith? Do you complain about the process, or do you remain patient knowing that God is working behind the scenes? Do you question why things are not happening fast enough, or do you rest in the assurance that his plans are always better than yours? Trusting in God does not mean everything will happen exactly the way you want it to. Sometimes his rewards come in unexpected ways. The job you prayed for may not come, but a better opportunity will. The relationship you wanted to work out may not, but someone who truly values and loves you will enter your life. The door you wanted to walk through may close, but another one greater than you imagine will open. And when you trust, even in moments of uncertainty, even in seasons of waiting, even when things don't make sense, that is when God moves. That is when breakthroughs happen. That is when blessings flow. Because God's rewards are not just about material things. His rewards are peace that surpasses understanding, joy that cannot be shaken, strength in the midst of trials, and a life filled with purpose and abundance. But you must trust first. You must believe before you see. You must walk in faith before the reward is in your hands. Because God does not reward doubt, fear, or hesitation. He rewards those who place their trust in him completely. Silence is not weakness, it is power. It is in the stillness that God works, in the quiet that he speaks, and in the surrender that he rewards. The world may tell you to react, to rush, to chase after things, but God's way is different. He calls you to be still and know that he is God. When you stop fighting battles that are not yours to fight, when you stop reacting to every distraction, when you trust in his timing instead of chasing after things that are not meant for you, that is when everything falls into place. That is when peace enters your heart. That is when you hear God's voice guiding you, strengthening you, and blessing you in ways beyond your understanding. Your silence is not empty. It is filled with faith. Your stillness is not wasted. It is preparation for what's to come. And when you trust in him completely, without doubt, without fear, without hesitation, God will give you everything that is meant for you. To give you everything